And welcome to this fourth session on this Planet Air application. And in this session, we are going to get introduced to a new concept in Unity, what we call as scene management. Scene management means in Unity, you can create different scenes and you can navigate from one scene to another using this scene management. Say for example, you are building a game. Every level of your game can be built as a different scene, and once level 1 is over, you can jump to level 2, level 3, like that you can change from one scene to another. Now coming back to our application here, if we come to our application, see our application has right now two scenes. One is the home screen. So if I double click, I have home screen with 8 buttons, and another scene is Mercury. Now what I want is, when the user in the home screen clicks on this Mercury button, he has to come to this Mercury scene, and after he sees, here there is a back button. I have written in Kannada as Hindi here because I have done this application in Kannada, and when I click on Hindi, you will go back to this main menu. So this navigation part we are going to do it today. And to create this navigation, again we are going to make use of a method. And where can we write methods? Methods can be written in the C# scripts. So coming here in assets, in the scripts folder, I am now going to create a new script, C# script, and I am going to call this as SceneController. So I had one rotation controller. I have created a new scene, scene controller, and in this scene controller, if I double click to open it, I am not going to use any of the start or update methods. So I will select all the code between these two brackets and I will delete it. So now here I am going to start by actually creating a method. So you already know what a method is. A method is a set of functionality, and every method will have a parameter. If you remember, I had given you an example that how we can use remote. Changing channel in the remote is the operation is what we call as method, and it requires a parameter. The parameter is channel number. So similar to this, now I am going to declare a new method, and this method is public and it is void because it is not going to return anything. It is only going to perform some operation, and I am going to call this as SwitchScene. And remember, method should always start with capital letter. And then in open close parameter, I am now going to give it a parameter, and this parameter is a string. I will type string and I will give it the name. I will give it the name as sceneName. Okay, and then I will come out of this parenthesis. Coming to the next line, I will press flower brackets, and in between this flower bracket, I am going to write my code. Now here, what should happen in this method is, this method is going to call a component called as SceneManager, and this SceneManager has a function called as LoadScene. So this I am typing using a component, built-in component in Unity Engine, which is called as SceneManager, and this SceneManager has a function called LoadScene, and in open close parenthesis, which scene it has to load, I will mention its name, and it is the scene name. So whatever scene name parameter is entered by the user, that scene, the scene is going to change, and I will end it with semicolon. So we have written a method telling the Unity that when the user calls this method, the parameter the user has to give to this is the scene name. If the user says switch scene Mercury, then this method is going to change the scene from the current scene to Mercury scene. So this is the script that we have written now. Now I will go to file and choose save to save this. So once I have saved this, I will come back to Unity now. Now if you come to Unity and if you come to console, you are seeing an error. What it is saying? The name Scene Manager does not exist in the current context. What Unity is saying is, you have written some command as Scene Manager, I am not able to understand it. Now I will double click this and I will come back here. What is now happening is, this Scene Manager is a method which is present in a particular component of Unity engine, which is called as Scene Management. So Unity is not able to understand where the Scene Manager command is there in Unity. So for this, I have to add one line at the top. See, already we have added using system collection, using system collection generic, using Unity engine. These 3 lines are by default added by Unity script itself. Now below that, I am going to add one more line using, and this time I am going to use Unity Engine, and in Unity Engine I am going to call for a particular library of code which we call as Scene Management. Okay, S is capital, M is capital, and end it with semicolon. So what I now did is, using Unity Engine parade Scene Management, because this Scene Management component is where the Scene Manager command is present. So I have to call this command. So sometimes if the command Unity is not understanding, then a particular library is not able to be assessed by your code. So by adding this using command, I am making this library accessible or searchable for this code. So now I will go to file, choose save, and now let us come back to Unity and see. So now the script is checking and now it is compiling and I have no errors. So now I will come back to project. Now I have the scene controller script is ready. Now as of now, this scene controller is a script which is lying in my warehouse. I want this script to come on the scene. How am I going to do it? So for this, I have to attach this script to some component in my scene. So for example, right now I will come to scenes and open home scenes, and I will come to scripts, and here in home scenes what I will do is, I will open this UI canvas and I have created one empty game that is container called as ButtonHandler. I am now going to attach this screen controller to this ButtonHandler. So I have attached this script to ButtonHandler, and next I will open it, and the first button I am using is Mercury button. And for this Mercury button, to make it function as a button, what I have to do is, I have to add a component in Unity called as button. So I will select Mercury button, come to the inspector, and you have one add component here. Now click on this add component and type button. So I got this button. So if you click on button, see automatically this Mercury BTN, whatever sprite we had created, image, did got converted into button. So now you can choose what is its normal color, highlighted color, when pressed what should be its color, when selected what should be its color, when disabled what should be its color. Say for example in highlight, so I can click on this color here, and when highlighted I want to change its color to something light green like this, so I can set the color. So when the user clicks on this, this becomes, when the user brings the mouse on this, this becomes highlighted. So like this I can add all these things, and if you scroll down, you have one event here called OnClick already here. So, when the user clicks on this button, what should happen? So, here I am going to create, you have one plus button. So, on click, when someone clicks here, what should happen? If I click on the plus button, it is asking what should happen, and for this the parameters I have to give is, first is whether I want this button to be usable in both editor and runtime. I want it to be accessible, or I want this component to run to work as a button only during runtime. So, I will select runtime here, and I am going to select this button handler object, drag it and put it here. So, when the user clicks on this button Mercury, I am calling this button handler, and for this button handler I have attached a function. So, if you click here, I have attached a script here called SceneController. See, you are seeing this SceneController script which we had attached to this, and in SceneController we had created a method SwitchScene. Do you remember we created in Visual Studio Code a method called SwitchScene that is accessible here. I will select this, and here I have to give the parameter the name of my scene. So, I will come here to scene, I will right click on this Mercury scene, I will choose rename, and I am going to copy this name so that there is no typo error when I select this scene name. And then I am now coming back to Mercury button here, I will scroll down and here I will paste this name. So, now what happens when the user clicks on this button, he is going to go to the Mercury scene. So, let us check whether this is working. So, I will go to file, choose save, and after saving I will execute this home scene. So, once I execute the home scene, and when I click on this, see, as I bring the mouse here, it is turning green because I added highlight color as green, and when I click on it, it's not working. Well, the reason for this is, in my compilation they have not added all the scenes. So, I will stop the playback. The problem that we are facing here is, now if you come to file, you have build setting, and in build setting you see here you doesn't have any scene for it to build. So, right now what I want is, I will drag this home scene here and I will drag this Mercury scene here. I have added both the scenes. Then I will close the build setting, go to file, choose save. Now, if I run the playback, now if I click on this, see, it is coming to the Mercury scene. Now, next what happens? When I click on this back button, it should go back to where? It should go back to the original scene, that is this previous scene. So, for this stop the playback. Now, this button is fine in home screen. From home screen we are going to Mercury. Now, I have to come from Mercury back to home screen. So, for that I will open the Mercury scene, and in the Mercury scene again I will come to scripts, and I am going to attach this SceneController script to my canvas. See, I will attach it to the canvas. So, for canvas I have added this SceneController script, and after adding it I will come to this button. Inside canvas I have created this image, and I am going to press F2 and I will rename this. I will call this as back underscore btn, back button. I will give it the name, and then for this the button again I will come to add component here, and I am going to add the button component to it. And once I add the button component, then for this again in highlight color I am going to choose some light green color, and then if you scroll down here in the OnClick event, I will click on the plus mark here, leave it as runtime only, and here in the object I will drag the canvas and attach to this object, because for canvas I have attached my script. So, I am attaching any object to which I have attached the script, I will drag it here, and now in function if you come, you can see my script screen controller, because I have attached screen controller to this canvas, and I am going to choose this switch scene, and this time here in the name I will come to scene, I will select home screen, right click and choose rename, and I will right click and copy this name. Now I will come back to back button here, scroll down, and here I am going to paste it, and now let us save this file. So, now let us run this and see it. So, now I will stop the playback, I have to start from home screen. Okay. So, I will save this. Now, I will run the command, and when I run the command, so initially when I click on this, I am coming to the Mercury scene, and when I click on the back button, I am going back. So, our game logic is ready. Now, only thing is we have to create scenes and we have to link it. So, this part let us do it in our next session. So, in the next session we have now linked only the Mercury, we are going to link the Venus, Earth, Mars, we are going to link all. And one thing is, if you come to Saturn, for Saturn you cannot use the globe, you need an external model or a customized model. So, what I have done is I have created a separate model for Saturn, and I am going to explain you how you can use this Saturn model and actually use that model in our augmented reality scene. So, all this let us do it in our next session. Okay? Thank you.